You're watching LeaderCast. I'm Anthony Kovic here on the Hernando Post, and today we are at the Hogan Law Firm on location here in downtown Brooksville, and our guest is Tom Hogan. Tom, thank you for being a guest on LeaderCast.
Yeah, enjoy. Thank you.
You know, being a lawyer, you've had a long experience, and we're going to get into other parts of the legal profession. But tell us, what's the most important part of the legal profession from the perspective of the lawyer?
Well, there's several answers to that, but the most important answer is that the way the Constitution is set up to provide citizens with defenses against an overpowerful government. And so an attorney's job is to make sure that his client's rights are being observed if they're in a confrontational position with the government. The legal system, in my opinion, is one of the center post foundations of our society. We don't go out and settle things in the street. It's not who's the strongest or who's the fastest with a gun. We have a legal system to resolve our disputes, whether they're with the government or whether they're between citizens. And there are a lot of lawyer jokes, but when you get into a position that you need a lawyer, then it's important that you have one that's experienced in the area that you need one for.
Well, absolutely. I mean, whether it's, defense, whether it's providing a will, providing trust, all the legal things, all the documents. The reason why we have a civilized society is we have documents proving all these things, and they have to be generated by somebody that knows what they're doing.
Exactly. And we do a lot of work that does not involve any confrontation with anyone. Like you said, drafting trust, wills, representing businesses and transactions, whether they're between other businesses, mergers, acquisitions. One of the things that I do a lot of is helping people sell their business and getting the maximum value out of it if they're ready to retire. We've done a lot of that over the years. So there's a lot of times that the transactional side of being a lawyer is very rewarding, but it doesn't involve any courtrooms, any Perry Mason moments. None of those things happen.
That's what the excitement is.
That's what people think of when they think of a lawyer, but most of what a lawyer does is in their office and not in the courtroom.
Now you guys have the Hogan Law Firm has two offices, one in downtown Brooksville.
Yes, sir.
And another one on Spring Hill Drive. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
That's correct.
And do they both serve the same purposes, or is there a division of activities in each office?
There's a little bit of division of activities. We do most of the transactional work here in Brooksville. In Spring Hill, we do some transactional with real estate. We have an attorney there, Carrie Felice, who's very, very knowledgeable in the real estate area. She came to us from 8 years at the Southwest Florida Water Management District, so she's very, very well versed in the permitting process for our builder clients. So we do a lot of that kind of work out there, but we also have an attorney there that does family law. John Napolitano does our family law, and he's very dedicated to it.
Family law, just to give us, I kind of know what family law is, but give us a little bit of a transactional area of what family law consists of.
Family law consists of everything from adoption to a divorce.
Oh, okay, that kind of family law.
Yes, and he's very good in the courtroom in a divorce setting. When he first gets a case, he tries his best to reconcile the couple and save the marriage. But when that fails, and he's saved quite a few, but when that fails and litigation is the only choice, then he is excellent at that.
Now, you've been in the Brooksville area, Hernando County. How long have you resided as a resident here?
Well, my family goes back here many, many generations, back to before the Civil War.
Oh, really? Not that long?
Or as my grandmother would call it, the War of Northern Aggression. But
Not back to the Spanish colonial
No.
days. No, okay.
Not that far back.
Okay, just making sure.
And they had the livery stable down on Main Street. The building's still there. And just a quick story, ironically, the Lanier livery stable would pick up gasoline at the train depot in a mule-pulled wagon and then deliver it to the people in the county that owned automobiles.
Well, so those were the days when Rockefeller actually shipped the gasoline and kerosene via rail.
Yes, there were no gas stations, and so the gasoline was delivered by a mule-drawn wagon. So it's kind of interesting.
You know, like, what was the population back then? I mean, was there, I'm sure there was obviously a school. I mean, Hernando High probably was still around back then.
Sure. Hernando High had been in existence for many, many years, over 100 years. And my grandfather went to Hernando High, and so I did. My children did. My grandchildren are going there now. When I graduated from high school in 1972, there were 17,000 people in the entire county.
Wow.
To give you an idea of how much the county has changed since that time. Hello, my name is Tom Hogan. I founded the Hogan Law Firm more than 30 years ago. And what we really enjoy doing here is getting to know our clients and trying to help you solve your issues, your problem, your transaction. We enjoy that. We're lucky that we can make a living doing that, but the main source of our satisfaction over the years is the friends that we've made through the practice of law and the people that we've helped. Our main source of business is the referrals from our former clients. So give us a try, give us a call. We can represent you in many areas of law, whether it's family, domestic law, divorce law. We do a lot of transactional law, meaning wills, trust, estates, real estate transactions. We handle civil litigation. We handle employment law, representing employers primarily. One of our attorneys is very well qualified in that area. We represent several governmental entities, so we have experience in that area and can represent you with other governmental entities where we don't have a conflict. So if you'd like to get to know us, if you'd like to see if we're the attorneys for your issue, give us a call at our phone number, 799-8423. We have two locations, one in Brooksville, just down the street from the courthouse, 20 South Broad Street, and one in Spring Hill at the corner of Mariner and Spring Hill Drive. Look forward to getting to know you. Thank you.
Now, do you think it's changed for, give us your perspective, 17,000 people, this area was pretty much farmland, is that correct?
That's correct. It was mainly ranching, farming, and mining.
Now, you have some ranching stories to tell us. So
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your ranching stories.
Well, when I was growing up in high school and through college, I worked for Lykes Brothers, and they are one of the leading pioneer cattle families in the state of Florida. And we had as many as 15,000 head of cows here in this county. It was a cow-calf operation. And
very few people know that Florida is, I think, the second largest cattle state next to Texas.
That's correct. Still is. Yeah, still is. And so I did I got on a horse almost every day unless I was doing fencing work. And we did roping, branding, all the things that you think of when you think of a cowboy. Things hadn't changed.
So the cowboy lawyer guy.
That's right. I wanted to be a cowboy growing up, and then so I got to live that dream for those 8 years. But breaking a few bones kind of wakes you up to the fact that you better get an education.
Now, when you doing cattling, cowboying and driving cattle, did you travel the parts of the state, or was it corralled already and just moving it from one small area to another?
They were moved from relatively small areas, but Lykes owned thousands of acres, so it was quite a quite a bit of land to cover, and there were ranches that were there were ranch properties that were disconnected. So we drove cattle across Fort Dade Avenue, for
Okay.
example. Before I started working for them, they routinely drove cattle across Highway 50, but we would move cattle by truck sometimes from property to property. The days of driving cattle from Brooksville to Tampa for shipment to Cuba predated me.
Wow. I mean, what we think of cattle, cowboying and cattle ranching, we think of Texas and bringing them all the way to Kansas City,
Right.
where they were then slaughtered and sold all the way to the Northeast and other parts of the country. But you don't think of it as Florida as the place where cattle ranching is one of the largest next to Texas as far as cattle driving.
It is, and we had our moments in our smaller cattle drives, but Florida's fencing law didn't take effect until 1948, and so it took many years after that before people actually fenced their property. So there was still a lot of open range.
Yeah, the barbed wire pretty much ended.
That ended it.
drive.
That ended it. But a lot of people back in those days, the old timers told me, people were in the cattle business that didn't own any land. They would just buy cows, brand them, and turn them loose in the county, and then go trot around them back up and sell them when they had calves.
When you can find them, right? And
Right.
Where do they go?
Exactly.
They didn't have the GPS tag, right?
No. But we chased cows. I chased cows from Highway 41 all the way to Highway 19 through what is now Spring Hill. So things have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, you won't find the cows roaming through Spring Hill
No.
anymore.
No.
Though I think all the way up on California Street, there's still a few cows
There may be.
across the street from the high school and grammar school over there, Chocochatty.
Yeah.
So if you want to see some cows in the Spring Hill area, well, I think it's still considered Brooksville, past on that part, is it?
California Street.
California all the way
considered
to-
the border, I think. The official city limits line is before you get to the Brooksville Hospital, which is now changed names, and I can't think of
Yeah,
it.
but to the airport, is that considered still Spring Hill? I believe it's still Spring Hill. I think the city ends at where on the plantation.
Past Southern Hills.
Yes, Southern Hills, right around there, they annexed Southern Hills. So there are still cows in Spring Hill, right on California.
Yes, sir.
And
Oh, yeah.
Spring Hill Drive.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So you decided to become a lawyer. Is that where did that come from? Did you have any history in the legal, as far as family wise, or is
Yes.
it just that the legal profession interests you?
My father is a pharmacist and had a drugstore here for 47 years, but chemistry wasn't my thing.
Ah, yes.
And so my uncle is an attorney in Clearwater, and when I was a younger kid, I would go down and visit him in the summers, and he would take me to court with him, and I was intrigued by that. And so when I decided to go on to college and beyond, I decided to go to law school and became an attorney.
Nice. I make it a point to every now and then go to the courthouse and watch some of the proceedings on occasion. It is interesting to see some of the squabbles that we here in Spring Hill actually go through.
Yeah.
And it is the procedures, the bailiff, you next, what are you doing here?
Right.
Usually when I come in with a camera, it's like, you can't use the camera. It's like, it's not on, it's in the bag. But, so what was your first job as an attorney? Did you practice a specific type of law? Let me ask you, what is your specialty of law practice that you enjoy the most, actually?
That I enjoy the most now is the business transactions. I like to help people, especially in the sale of their business that they've started. Most of my clients are small businesses, and I think our biggest business is a 300 employee business, but most of them are small mom and pop type businesses that we
So like 10, 15
10,
employees?
15, 20, 50. But they usually are entrepreneurs that started the business themselves. And so when it comes time to retire, if they don't have a child that wants to take over the business, then they want to go in the market and sell it. And that's very rewarding when you can help somebody get the value of their maybe 30, 40 years of work, and give them enough money that they can enjoy a retirement. That's rewarding. I enjoy that. I also enjoy helping people